Now, this part is very important. If your welcome is not systematic, you're going to leave somebody out. If you don't really get it down to step-by-step effort, you're going to leave somebody out. And I'm going to tell them myself in a few minutes. But it's very easy to leave someone out. So you must get systematic if you're going to be faithful. Think about that young mother with her 2 little children. If you don't have the steps in place, chances are she's going to leave and never feel connected to you. Here are the 5 essential elements of systematic welcome. Oh my goodness, they appear on the screen. Disposable name tags, greeters welcome and gather information, Sunday night follow-up, week after or second visit follow-up, and year-long tracking. Now, let me tell you, you don't need to go gaga about trying to write all this down, because I'm going to give you a transcript of everything I'm saying today. They have them at every exit. You can't get out of here without taking one of them. So just know you can take it home and study it and share it with your congregation. Okay, disposable name tags. This seems like a funny place to begin. Why would we start with disposable name tags? Well, until you warm up the membership, the people in the room, it's very hard to be really a magnet to others. Now, the whole idea is to increase the intimacy in your churches. I had a guy from Northern California. I gave this talk in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, this time last year, and he went home and instituted the disposable name tag program. On Monday, after he did it, he called me and said, "Pat, I've had the best Sunday ever." I said, "My Lord, what happened? Did the tongues of fire come down or something?" And he says, "No." He says, "We put on the disposable name tags, and for the first time in 7 years, our people spoke to each other." He just told them when they put them on to say each other's name when they extended the peace. He said, "My church house temperature went up 100 degrees in one day." And it will happen for you too. Now we know all the problems with permanent name tags. You take them home and they stay on your dresser. How many of you have done that? You take them. Somebody has to re-alphabetize them, and you got to figure out a way to store them. As your church gets larger, your parish gets larger, it gets tougher. Some people don't want to wear them because they stick in their blouse or whatever. But the most important thing that permanent name tags do against you is that they scream, "Insider." "Oh, you've got a name tag. When will I graduate and get mine?" Some places it happens really fast, but in some parishes it takes forever to get your permanent name tag. You need not do that. I'm not talking about some expensive endeavor. What I'm talking about are those mailing labels. Nothing as fancy as this. These are expensive. I'm talking about, all the junk mail you get that you put directly in the trash. It has that little tiny, those little tiny mailing labels like this. You can buy those for almost nothing. And you put Patrick on the top line in bold and about 14-point type. And underneath it, you put Gahan in unbolded type at about, 12-point type. And you alphabetize them, and everybody comes in every Sunday and they take their name tag off and they put it on. It costs almost nothing. The advantages of disposable name tags, of course, is that they're easy and people wear them. We have about a 99% wear rate. We have a couple of curmudgeons that still won't wear them. But it's amazing what happens when people do wear them. When I was serving in Beaumont, this is when we dreamed this up. Mary Palmer really is probably the one who really thought this up. But I was in Beaumont, and at our 8 o'clock service, we have a guy that always sits on the outside of the last pew. His name's Quentin, and he played baseball with Yogi Berra, as a matter of fact. Well, all the way down here, there was this physician, this lady physician. She sat here. And one day after we put in the permanent name tags for about 6 months, he came to me and says, "Pat, I really want to thank you for these name tags." He says, "I have been sitting on the same pew with this woman for 20 years. And we introduced ourselves to each other 20 years ago, but I've been afraid to greet her since because I forgot her name." It will warm up your congregation. The other thing it will do is that if, let's say Fred here visits St. Stephen's, the next day, the next Sunday, I'll have a name tag for you. You don't have to feel like an outsider. Only one Sunday do you have the visitor name tag. Dun, 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 dun. The next week, you look like you're in tight with everybody else. Finally, you're going to love this. You can take roll. You got to love that. I always envied the Methodists, you know, passing the roll down the aisle, you know. And I wanted to do that, and I know that I would have been run out of several congregations if I had done that. But this way, every Monday we have someone come in and they type in all those, just on our database, those who have not been to church. And then every 4 weeks I call all the newcomers that have missed 4 weeks in a row, and every 8 weeks I call all the people who've been there for a while. If they've missed 8 Sundays in a row, I call them, or somebody calls them, generally me. You know, your back door can be as big as your front door. That's the problem. And some of you have even testified that to me today. You said, oh my goodness, you know, we seem to be growing, new people coming, but people are just streaming out the back door. You've got to know who's going out the back door. And disposable name tags will help you do that. So, please don't let me mess this thing up again. Greeters. Greeters are the stormtroopers of hello. They're not ushers. And they end up being the folks that symbolize and really model how you say hello to people. It's very important that your greeters get out on the front sidewalk. Now listen, this is Texas. We have good weather most of the time, right? You can't have your greeters hunkered down in the narthex doing this. Welcome, welcome. That does not work. You know, you've got to have your greeters out close to the parking lot. Now let me tell you why. Research has shown us that people make a decision to come back to your parish not after hearing the riveting sermon. Sorry, preachers. Not after hearing the magnificent choral offertory anthem. Not after they see how glorious the inside of your church look. People make a decision to return to your parish or not within 5 minutes of parking their car. It is imperative that you get out on the sidewalk and say, I'm glad you're here. And that you have a cadre of greeters that really, really believe in what they're doing. Now, I had someone at a clergy conference before Bishop Dole was bishop want to get up and fight me when I said this. No one comes to worship to be anonymous. No one comes to worship today to be anonymous. One of my fellow presbyters wanted to fight me on that one area. He said, oh, no, Episcopalians, we want to come in, get very quiet, solemn. Listen, if you want to be anonymous, you stay at home, you drink your Starbucks coffee, and you eat your Whole Foods bagel. That's how to be anonymous. If you've made a decision to get up and put on your britches and get out the door and go to church, you've made a fundamental decision. I am sick of being anonymous. Quit acting like people want to be anonymous. If you want to give this a test, you preachers out there, about 3 times in a row, forget the name of someone who has come to your parish and see how anonymous they want to be. People are sick of being anonymous. They want you to know them. They want you to know who they are.